Good evening and thanks for tuning into FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Brantley Kite.
And I'm student meteorologist Sydney Welch, and we are here on the first Wednesday show of our spring semester.
That's right. It is very, very cold outside right now. It's still in the 30s. We started out in the 30s this morning, and we've had a lot of people concerned about snow, ice, especially in the western part of the Panhandle.
Yeah, the western part of the Panhandle, they had a bunch of roads closed, highways, interstates.
Yeah, that's right. And they are almost every bridge from Escambia County to Bay County, where we have our Panama City FSU campus. Their bridges were all closed this morning, and they're just now starting to reopen, but they fear they might be closed again tomorrow morning with the ice on the road.
Yeah, and Tallahassee saw those frigid temperatures as well. I was not up earlier to see this, but I did see your Snapchat, Brantley.
I was up pretty early this morning, and it was very cold, especially with the wind outside. It was frigid. I was wearing a scarf, a hat, and you really have to bundle up as we head into tonight, where we expect temperatures to dip again into the low 20s.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody out there will believe this, because I barely believe it myself, but by Sunday, our temperatures are going to be back in the 70s.
Back in the 70s. It's a temperature roller coaster, and it's really not going to be good for people that are already fighting the flu. It's really going to help ramp up the flu right now.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely will. So, but as for right now, we are under a wind chill advisory, and that is going from 7 p.m. until 1 p.m. So actually that starts in an hour. And also we are also under a hard freeze warning.
A hard freeze warning. We have very prolonged periods of temperatures sub-freezing, so we have to protect your plants, your pipes, people, and just practice fire safety with the space heaters inside.
Yeah, definitely. Now we are going to head out to Jake to talk more about this winter weather.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Sorry for stealing a bit of your screen time here, but we got plenty to talk about with the weather tonight. Starting off with your headlines for tonight. Rain moving out of the picture, as we've already seen earlier on this morning. Those below freezing temperatures are already beginning to settle into some of our northwestern areas. And as you guys alluded to, a wind chill advisory going to be in effect tonight, as well as a hard freeze warning, as these temperatures are slated to dip down into the lower 20s, potentially even trying to crack the teens. Starting off with that almanac for today, we hit a high of 47, and that actually occurred at 2 in the morning. So cooling down as we got into the morning and afternoon hours. So we're sitting down now just about in the upper 30s, low of 32 degrees right about 8, 9 a.m. this morning. So well below average, not really cracking record territory. But tonight we actually could be seeing that low temperature try to threaten that record low, which I believe is 18 degrees for January 18th. The current conditions, 35 degrees under Tallahassee as that sun is about to be going down. 20s, right around 30 degrees off to our northwest, with that wind making it feel even colder, and that front is even starting to make its presence felt in the Florida Peninsula with some of these temperatures, even in Gainesville, down I-75, slipping down into the 40s. Satellite and radar clearing out, and a clear nights out ahead, and sunny skies for our immediate picture tomorrow as well. And finally, tonight's forecast, 21 degrees is what we're forecasting for. It's going to be historic if we actually drop below 20, so we're going to see how that goes. A hard freeze warning is in effect with those temperatures, about the coldest we've seen all year long. So for now, we're going to go back to the desk where Sydney is standing by.
Thank you. I also have Brantley here with me because we are going to talk a little bit more about those watches and warnings that we started referring to.
That's right. So our first one we have coming into effect is a hard freeze warning tonight, and that means that we're going to have temperatures below freezing for a very, very long time. Yeah,
so there is definitely a if you go outside for too long, you have to be careful of frostbite, and you also have to be careful of things freezing.
Yeah, so you really just don't want to have any exposed skin. That's
exposed skin.
That's going to be the main threat right there. So you get any
roads
exposed
freezing
skin,
as well.
Yeah, so exposed skin, roads freezing. Also with the hard freeze warning, we're going to have temperatures that could freeze your pipes and make your pipes burst. So a lot of people have already gone through the spiel earlier this year with our cold temperatures, where you have to help cover up your pipes, or maybe leave some water trickling in a faucet or your outdoor spigots to make sure that the water doesn't freeze.
To keep the flow, yeah. And also with plants, the hard freeze warning could affect your plants, but a lot of
honestly, if your plants haven't been taken inside already, they are gone until the spring. So you just kiss those things goodbye for now and try it again back in March or April.
Yeah, exactly. And pets, please, please bring your pets inside. If you are cold when you're outside, your pet is also going to be cold
if it's
when they're outside as well.
It's too cold for them.
Yeah, and a doghouse at this point isn't enough to suffice. You need to really bring the pet inside with the heat. They need to be with the family.
It's very sad. I have heard about a few animal deaths over the last several days with these cold temperatures here in the Florida Panhandle and the Big Bend. And all those things are very preventable too.
Yes.
So you can easily just bring your pets inside, keep them warm for a couple nights, and because temperatures they're going to warm back up pretty soon. It's not going to be cold forever.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going, actually, Brantley, you're going to be telling us a little bit more about that weather and how we woke up today.
Yeah, so this morning we woke up with temperatures near freezing at around 32 degrees as we headed out the door. They're right there at the freezing mark, and then they didn't really warm back up either. We're currently at 35 in Tallahassee, and we're seeing pretty similar conditions around the region. Luckily, though, the sun did come back out about halfway through the day. We started out kind of cloudy this morning. Our dew point's at about 12 degrees, so it's feeling very, very dry outside. Humidity is low. You need to have lotions, chapsticks, things like that to help keep your skin and lips moisturized. Winds are pretty strong too. They're coming out of the north-northwest. That's going to shuttle in that cold air, and those gusty winds are the reason that we have our wind chill advisory tonight and tomorrow morning. So again, currently in Tallahassee, 35 degrees, 41 over in Wilmot. It's a little bit warmer there. Also a little bit warmer there in the upper 30s along the coast. In Carabel, Apalachicola, St. Mark's, 37 and 38, where they have a little bit warmer temperatures because the water is helping to moderate it just a little bit there. And local dew points also very low. 12-degree dew point in Tallahassee is low, and it's still low in Apalachicola, even right there along the coast where they have that moisture. That's because the winds are pushing all that moisture back offshore and bringing in that dry air. So our radar over the last 12 hours does show the blue, the purples, and the greens moving through the Panhandle and the Big Bend this morning. The blue color is snow. The purple is a mixture of sleet, snow, and rain, so it's like a very wintry mix. The green is rain. So, and a lot of that rain froze after it hit the ground, causing the roads to freeze. That's why we had some bridge closures to our west earlier this morning. Our air is also very dry, so as we go into tonight, we are not going to expect as much ice to form on the roads because there's just not as much moisture there for it. This orange color here is the dry air, and that's going to stay over our area for the next day or so before we start to see moisture surge back into the region. Our winds all coming out of the northwest or north-northwest. That's bringing in that very, very cold and dry air. 16 miles per hour in Tallahassee, 10 miles per hour in Panama City, 14 in Pensacola, and we're seeing similar stuff around the southeast in Alabama and Georgia as well. And these here are sustained winds, which means these winds have been clocked at this speed for at least 1 minute. So our gusts could still be much higher, up to 10 miles per hour higher. We expect winds to be at about 10 to 15 miles per hour tonight, with gusts up to 20 or even 25, especially there along the coast where they could have those gustier winds just because there isn't as much to obstruct the wind flow. So tonight our low is 21, even colder tonight than it was last night and this morning. The wind chill is going to be in the teens. We could even see it dip down close to about 10 degrees with our wind chill. We have a wind chill advisory tomorrow morning and a hard freeze warning tonight. So again, those winds are really going to be the main story as we head into the evening. That's going to make it feel very, very cold. We also have sunny skies tomorrow. Our temperatures warming back up to a high of 48 degrees. I know that doesn't sound warm, but it's about 10 degrees warmer than what it was today. And with the sunny skies back, it's going to feel a lot warmer for sure. Our 5-day forecast, though, really does show the warming trend. Friday back to 56 degrees. Our lows still below freezing though, so it's going to be pretty chilly at night, but then by the weekend, Saturday at 63, Sunday 70 degrees. We're going to be having 73 on Monday, and rain chance is going to increase before that warm weather gets here.
All right, well, now that we've gotten our local weather wrapped up, let's start talking about what's going on across the rest of the southeast. Well, a little bit of a spoiler. Not really too much different going on, starting off with SkyCons. All that rain was out of the way by the end of the morning here, so what we've seen is a general clearing pattern. Sunny skies currently in Tallahassee, Montgomery, Jackson, Huntsville, anywhere you look really, unless you get towards the coast where a little bit more cloud cover is still lingering from the passage of that rain and in some places snow earlier on. Here's the temperatures, and the Florida Peninsula is really what I'm personally looking at, as those temperatures are rapidly going down as that front's making its way through. You can see it very nicely in how it shifts from these yellows and oranges to these blues up in North Florida. 58 degrees in Orlando, only about a 3-hour drive away. Here in Tallahassee, 35. The dew points showing a very, very similar picture here. 55-degree dew point down in Key West, 50 in Miami, which is still fairly low for those areas in South Florida, but will be dropping even further as that cooler air and drier air works its way in from the north and west. Up to our north, even lower, 9 degrees in Atlanta, 8 in Montgomery, 9 in Tupelo. These are very unprecedentedly low values in some of these areas. The radar showing you all the cloud cover and wintry precipitation moving through much of the southeast this morning and into the afternoon hours. Some pretty healthy doses of snow working into South and North Carolina. And that's still continuing, even in areas like Raleigh, Durham, down towards Charlotte. Some snow still lingering out over in the western parts of the Carolinas as well. So not exactly out of the clear or out of the woods yet with this, but that's going to be improving as the night goes on. The winds out of the northwest, really anywhere you look across the southeast, except for Little Rock, the one outlier at 9 miles per hour out of the southeast. Of course, that front moved out of the way a little bit longer ago. 22 miles per hour in Atlanta, so it's feeling, I mean, it's already cold enough with those temperatures down in the 20s, but those wind chills are bitter, and that's going to be the case really anywhere you look tonight. We've even seen some wind chill values below 10 degrees near the coast in areas like Mobile and Pensacola earlier. Here's the watches and warnings, and there's a lot to look at here, so let's break this down piece by piece. Hard freeze warnings and wind chill advisories in this light blue right here, which includes Tallahassee tonight. Temperatures expected to get down near 20 degrees in some of these areas. Freeze warnings extending as far down as Port Charlotte, Sarasota, even trying to get into the northern parts of, say, Fort Myers. This also includes Orlando, Melbourne. Wind chill advisory stretching all the way down through West Palm Beach. So not even South Florida is out of the woods with this. They could see it feeling like as cold as, say, below freezing. Even some spots feeling like 25 degrees in Florida. So pretty crazy really across the entire region. For tonight's forecast, teens really anywhere you look to our north and west. 17 Montgomery, 13 in Tupelo, 24 degrees in Savannah, and even south central Florida, Lake Okeechobee getting in on some of those cold temperatures at 34 degrees in Orlando. Tomorrow, a beautiful day across the Sunshine State. 63 degrees, feeling like paradise relative to what we're experiencing a little further up north. So for now, we're going to go back to the desk with Brittany and Sydney.
Thanks, Jake. We are going to talk about a little bit traveling. So, Brittany, did you do any traveling over this break?
I actually did. I actually went on a cruise, so I saw those nice warm temperatures.
So, did any weather affect your travels during that time?
Didn't affect my travel, but I did hear that the cruise before me, it rained the entire time, so they didn't have too good of a cruise at all.
That sounds awful. A group of students from FSU actually went to Austin, Texas from all over the country, from their homes. We all flew to Austin, and the weather did affect some of us due to the bomb cyclone that we saw it was the day before it came through Albany, New York, and I was flying out of Albany. Luckily, I was safe, but I know that a few people flying out of New York City did have a little bit of trouble and did have some canceled flights. So that it's not good trying to plan a meteorology meeting and then having the weather come and mess some of it up.
And hundreds of flights were also canceled this week, Tuesday and Thursday, across the South because of this winter storm Inga. Yeah,
so that winter storm is the one that also residents were urged to stay in their homes and off the roads in southern cities and attempt to avoid a repeat of a recent what they call snowpocalypse. So it really, this winter weather really has been affecting the South unlike anything before. So
yes, and unfortunately deaths have been reported due to car accidents. Mostly 10 total were actually. 3 they say were blamed on the cold weather, and 7 deaths were blamed on the storm. So
that is just really unfortunate. Honestly, if you are going to be traveling during any type of winter storm, which I urge you not to, but if you are going to be driving so slow on those roads is really the key. And definitely don't slam on your brakes at any time, because if there is ice, there's nothing you can really do about that.
You can't always see the ice either, so definitely drive with caution.
Yeah, so on that note, we are going to be taking it out with a look around the nation with Michael.
Thanks, Brittany and Sydney. So the main story across the eastern 2/3 of the nation is this Arctic air. You can see across the eastern 2/3 you're in the teens or 20s, but with the wind it feels much colder than it actually is. So you could really develop frostbite in 30 minutes or less. Now, the 24-hour temperature change across the middle of the country, it's actually warmer than it was this time yesterday. Temperatures are beginning to moderate as some warmer air is trying to come from the west. Now, in the east coast, you can see that that cold front did move through yesterday, and it is much colder than it was compared to this time yesterday. The water vapor shows you that front starting to exit the east coast. There is some lingering moisture up in the northeast, giving some snow to New England, But as we look across the western part of the country, our next storm system is arriving, and that is going to move into the west and Midwest these next few days. The National Weather Radar shows you the rain moving in for that next storm system in Seattle and Portland. And let's take a look back at the east where you can see all that snow moving through the southeast yesterday. And actually it's still lingering, as Jake was saying, in the Carolinas, giving some major travel issues in the Raleigh-Durham area. And also in the New England area, they are under winter storm warnings and they're getting some snow as well. Now, here in the southeast again, you can see the snow accumulating even in Florida. Crestview, Florida, got some snow this morning. And as of this morning, all 50 states have snow on the ground. Now, in Atlanta, they got their snow last night. I think the airport reported 2.5 inches of snow, which is actually, they are actually above their snowfall average for this time of year. Now, when we look at the north, you can see a low developed near the Jersey Shore, and that was enhancing the snowfall near New England. So they've been getting higher snowfall amounts. That's why they're under winter storm warnings. Now, the watches and advisories, let's look at this again. Hard freeze across everywhere in the south, really. Then you go into Tallahassee, you're under a harsh freeze warning as well as a wind chill advisory. And then Jake was pointing out the freeze warning down in Tampa, Orlando, Fort Myers, all those places. And we still have some winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings in the Carolina due to all the snow issues up there. The airport delays, the one place I want to point out, Atlanta with 185 minutes. That is due to the lingering snow and ice from yesterday's snowstorm. And that is going to linger for the next day or so until those temperatures get above freezing. For tonight, the Arctic air is the main story across the eastern two-thirds of the nation. You can see 18 in Atlanta, 22 in Tallahassee. If the winds are calm enough in Tallahassee, we could probably get into the teens. And with the wind, it's going to feel much colder than these temperatures are saying right now. And for tomorrow, the temperatures do begin to moderate. And by this weekend, we will get some warmer air and we'll finally get out of the Arctic cold. Now let's send it off to the desk.
All right, thanks a lot, Michael. First off, a correction on something I said back in the overview segment. The record low for tomorrow is actually 15 degrees. I had previously said 18. Don't think we're going to get there, thankfully, for all of us here in Tallahassee. So what I wanted to talk about on that subject is, well, we, of course, are expecting this low to be right around 20 degrees, and it's been a long time since we've seen a low get below that temperature. The last time we were down to 19 or anything colder was actually January 4th, 2012, 6 years ago, over 6 years ago, when the temperature hit 18 overnight. So if we can get there, it's going to be a rather historic event, and well, it's been part of a very historic winter, even a January for us here in town, where we've seen the first ever accumulating snowfall in January when we had our 0.1 inch accumulation here in town just a couple of weeks ago, actually, on January 3rd. That was the first time we saw any sort of measurable snowfall since December 23rd, 1989. That was over 28 years ago, so rather incredible. Only the 8th time on record, with these records going back to just about the 1880s or so. With these temperatures expected to dip down into rather dangerous territory tonight, we wanted to look and see if it was going to be cracking any sort of record cold that we've ever seen here in town, and the answer to that is no. Some of the records that are out there, of course, include the Arctic outbreak of 1899, which, of course, you may not remember, but that saw the lowest ever recorded temperature in Florida. This was February 13th, 1899, with a temperature of -2 degrees, not Celsius, but Fahrenheit, so that's rather incredible. We also saw a temperature down at 6 degrees just about 30 years ago on January 21st of 1985. So thankfully not getting anywhere down there, but of course, as we've said all show, the 4 Ps, people, pets, pipes, and plants, protect all of those tonight, as we're expecting to see some of those wind chill values in our area get down below that 20-degree point if the temperature doesn't get there itself. But thankfully, not all of Florida is going to be under a freeze warning, as Brittany's about to outline here in our Around Florida segment.
Thank you, Jake. Now, can you spot where the cold front stalled out? You can see right here across the Florida the peninsula, the front has stalled out. So to the north, 35 in Tallahassee, 33 in Pensacola, and 43 in Jacksonville. It is pretty cold, and it was pretty cold all day. For South Florida, Tampa's sitting in the middle about 50 degrees, and Miami is at 69 degrees. So definitely not feeling like it is up here in Tallahassee. Now our current dew points indicate really, really dry air. 12 in Tallahassee, 29 in Jacksonville, and again, you can see where that front really stalled out. And for the rest of Florida, those pretty moderate dew points, so it's feeling pretty comfortable, not too dry and not too moist. Current winds are coming out of the north-northwest, and they're pretty strong. 16 in Tallahassee, 17 in Tampa, and 15 in Fort Myers. So it's pretty strong winds, and those gusts can get up to about 20-25 miles per hour in most spots. So windy conditions making that cold air feel even colder. Water vapor, you can see that dry air indicated by this orange color filtering in behind this front, leaving Tallahassee pretty dry. And for the rest of Florida, again, you can see that moisture is sticking around, so it's leaving for those moderate dew points, and some rain actually still in South Florida. Satellite, you see that snow in Florida for the third time this season, and that pinkish color is kind of a wintry mix. You have ice, snow. Tallahassee missed out on that. We only saw rain, but as the clouds cleared out, you saw that sun come in through the rest of the day, and clouds still lingering down in South Florida as that front stalled out right about here. Looking at the future cast, you can see not much going on for Florida. You can see the front kind of drift off into the Atlantic Ocean, and we're looking at pretty clear skies throughout Florida, so not really much to talk about. Sunshine State giving it its real name. For tonight, 22 in Tallahassee, that hard freeze warning. We have a wind chill advisory. It's going to be cold tonight. For the rest of Florida, 31 in Tampa, 37 in Fort Myers, and 40 in West Palm Beach. Key West sitting at 57, so it's pretty cool out there. And again, pretty cold in the Florida Panhandle. For tomorrow, only getting to 52 in Tallahassee, sunshine all across the state, 54 in Orlando, and 61 in West Palm Beach. So pretty cold. We'll see conditions better and warm throughout the next couple of days, but for now, let's head it over to Michael at the desk.
Thanks, Brittany. So we've been saying for the whole month of January, if you've been east of the Rockies this January, it's been cold. Arctic cold has been dominating for most of the month here east of the Rockies. We did have a little January thaw last week where some places did get into the 50s and 60s and 70s, but then we had this Arctic cold interrupt that January thaw once again. But don't worry, if you are waiting for the warmer weather, you only have to wait for the next 48 hours. By Friday, the pattern is going to change, and we're going to see 60s and 70s return to the southern tier of the country. Here in Tallahassee, we'll show you in the 5-day forecast in just a bit that it will be 71 on Sunday. The problem in the north with these warmer temperatures, they're going to be in the 50s and 60s by this weekend. The problem with that is you're going to get ice jams. What is an ice jam? When the rivers freeze, you get ice, and then when they melt, these ice pieces break. When they break and get into these river bends, they cause jams in terms of the water flow, and that will cause flooding, which is a major issue for a lot of the north right now. So be careful about these ice jams, and if you have to evacuate, please heed those evacuation orders. But for now, let's send it back to the wall with a look at your final local forecast.
Thanks, Michael. So the moral of this entire show has definitely been the cold air that moved in yesterday. So currently in Tallahassee, 35 degrees. If you haven't pulled the jacket out, definitely pull it out for tonight, because tonight's lows are the lowest we are going to have seen for the past week. So dew point at 12 degrees, and then look at that wind gusting up to 22 miles an hour. So sustained winds at 16 miles an hour, but it is gusting up to 22 miles an hour. So that is pretty intense for this time of year and for our region. Now, current temperatures around the entire region are sitting in the high 30s in most of the area. Quincy seeing the 30-degree temperatures below freezing, and Bainbridge also sitting right at that freezing point. So for those locations that are at the freezing point, definitely be careful into the night, because it is going to get cold. And for the locations not, it will most likely be below freezing by your morning time, so definitely take caution. Current dew points around the region, look at how low these dew points are. It is extremely dry. So Tallahassee seeing a 12-degree dew point, Quincy seeing 9 degrees, and Marianna down there with a 7-degree dew point. So 7 degrees in Mariana. That is extremely intense, and these low dew points mixed with these high winds could bring fire conditions. If you are burning a fire, don't forget to put it out, because these winds really could carry, with those dry conditions, carry a fire. 16-mile-an-hour winds in Tallahassee, Quincy seeing 12 miles an hour, and Mariana at 15 miles an hour. Down by Apalachicola and Carabel, they are slightly lower than we are seeing here in Tallahassee, but Apalachicola and Carabel seeing about 10-mile-an-hour winds for those locations. And as we go into our satellite, you do notice that there was some clouds that made their way out of the region, moving towards the southeast, coming from the northwest, and moved out. And look at this, clear skies, so those clear, dry conditions behind the front that we saw yesterday. So this is what it looks like to be behind a cold front, when they really pull all the moisture out of your area. So watches and warnings, I am going to step out of your way so you can see, look at the entire region covered in this. Right now we are seeing a wind chill advisory for the entire area, and also underneath this wind chill advisory is a hard freeze warning, which is going into tomorrow. So as we said before, pets, pipes, plants, and people, be careful if you are going outside, and don't forget to cover up those body parts and cover up any skin that could potentially be showing. Now, as we go into our future, the winds are going to get more calm, but they're still going to be coming from the northwest and moving southeast, and into Thursday, same type of pattern. So we are going to notice the winds calming as we go into the rest of the week. And if you are going to be planning your night, the rain will be gone by 7 p.m. and the freezing point will be hit at about 7 p.m. as well. Winds picking back up at 10 p.m. and then there is that hard freeze watch. But as for now, we are going to end the show with Michael and Jake. Take it away, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Sydney. This is usually that part of the program where I get excited about cold temperatures as a northerner, but as we've illustrated many times, this is getting to very bitter and sometimes dangerous levels of cold, so you'll want to heed all the advice that we've tried to provide in tonight's show.
Yeah, just make sure to get through tonight, because it could probably get into the teens if the winds are light enough, and that is really dangerous for anything outside. Pets, again, pets, pipes, anything that's exposed to the cold.
But as that 7-day shows, relief's on the way. Look at that, Sunday, 70 degrees, sunny skies. I cannot wait for, of course, the rain comes in next week.
Yeah, I'll take the warm temperatures. The rain is another story. And we definitely need it, actually.
Absolutely. We're all over social media. You can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook.com/FSU Weather. We also got the YouTube channel that we're streaming live to right now, and of course,
the Instagram, where you can post any pictures of probably snow in the north, or if you have frozen pipes, but that's not a good idea.
In a shocking turn of events, the Instagram handle is FSU Weather. For all of us here, I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens.
And I'm student meteorologist Michael Anand. Have a great night.